We are now in the Get to Know the ILF segment. So what is this going to look like? Well, we're going to have all of the ILF employees on. You can ask them any question that you want to know, and we will try and answer as many as we can. We're going to talk about a little bit of our history, how the ILF got started, and our goals and where things are headed in the future, and some of the good work that we've done. I'd also like to point out we are officially at the halfway point through ILFest. So we have been here for 4 hours, and we've got another awesome 4 hours to go, and the segments are just going to keep getting better and better. After this, we have Robin Dreek, former head of the FBI Behavioral Analysis Department. He's coming up next. Following him is JJ Cook, or JJ, from the wonderful Criminal Minds. And finally, we have Neil Fallon of the world's greatest rock band, Clutch. So stick around, and we are over halfway to our donation goal. So give yourselves a round of applause. We're at 52% while only being 50% of the way done with the day. So let's not lose steam. Let's get that suffering-o-meter going. And at 30K, we get to add a new ingredient to the sandwich. And at 42, we get to see Levi get a head tattoo. So let's keep those donations rolling in. And as far as giveaways go, Chris was shamelessly plugging our new coffee. So thank you, customroasted.net. We are going to do an awesome collaboration. It is underway, called Mission Fuel. It is our own exclusive blend of ILF coffee. And for the giveaway, we are going to be giving away 3 bags of Mission Fuel plus an exclusive ILFest mug as a bundle to 3 winners. So we're going to go ahead and launch that giveaway now so you can start getting your bucks in. And we're going to now meet the team. All right, so let's start. We'll just start in seniority order. So Chris, go ahead for anyone who doesn't know and give a brief introduction.
We're starting with seniority. That's age, isn't that Shane then?
You know, Chris, I'm tired, brother. Yeah, you would be correct. Yes, it would be.
But with age comes wisdom and beauty.
Well, I'm aging like milk, but the wisdom part maybe.
You know, fermented milk is a delicacy in some countries, just saying.
Maybe we should have arranged for that to be on your sandwich.
No, like I was saying, so ILF. Wait, what's the question? What am I supposed to be talking about?
Let's go ahead and give yourself a brief introduction, and we'd love to hear a little bit about the history of how the ILF got started.
I'm the now hopefully not so fat guy that you saw in that video a few minutes ago. That was ridiculous. I was watching that going, who the heck was that? Anyhow, I'm Chris Sadnagi, started ILF about 4 years next month. Is it next month, right, Shane?
September 1st, officially.
So almost in a month from now, it will be 4 years old. It actually started because of a job that I had in my company, Social Engineer. We were doing a adversarial simulation. And during that course of that work, we found a guy who was making homemade videos of child molestation and trading it over the dark web using his work computer. We worked closely with the FBI to arrange matters so he can be caught in the act, and he sits in prison today still. In that moment, it felt really good. I didn't understand, though, that like a skill set that I had could be used to actually do something more than just hack a company. You know, that was my job. I didn't know that I could do other things with it. And when I started talking about that story to people in the community, I heard that others were having similar cases but didn't know how to handle it or what to do. So they sometimes would just ignore it or leave it. And I went to my lawyer, Tim, who's part of the board of ILF. And I asked him, I have this crazy idea. I want to start this organization that takes all the talent in this industry and helps direct it to help law enforcement so we don't go all vigilante. What do you think? And normally Tim shoots down all my ideas and tells me why I'm stupid and tells me why I'm going to end up in prison. And then we argue and we come to a conclusion. And this is maybe one of the few times in our relationship where he said, not only is this a great idea, but I want to be on the board. And then my next person I called was Neil Fallon. We had ended up being friends at that point, which that's a whole nother story. If I start talking about that, we'll run out of time. But I called him and said, hey, what do you think about using your rock and roll power to help save kids And both him and his wife said, now that we know it exists, how can we not help? And that literally was the formation of it. We applied for our 501c3 and got it back fast, as even my CPA was like, we never heard of it coming back that fast. And I launched it at DEF CON. I made the announcement at DEF CON, and I honestly thought 5 people sitting in a room after a DEF CON once a year, we'll hack away at some websites, find some pedos, turn them over to the FBI. Never thought that I would have 6 employees and 50 people volunteering and 300 cases. My mind's a little bit blown by that, all in 5 years. So all the credit should go to the team that is sitting here, because this would not exist if it wasn't for the management and the people that we have that are making this all happen, including ILFest today.
Thank you, Chris. So let's hear a little bit from that management. So Shane, what's your role at the ILF?
So my role is COO, and so I get to do all the day-to-day things that make the machine move on the back end. So yes, we're a nonprofit, but we're essentially a business. We have to do everything that a business does, but we also have further restrictions on us because we're a nonprofit. And then of course you've got the challenges that's just with the mission in and of itself. So that's it. Really, it's not a very sexy job. It's doing business, making things happen, keeping things on track, and moving forward, being sure we stay focused on our mission.
So Shane, how did you come to be involved?
Can I interject something about Shane, because he's just
Please.
too modest? So when the organization started to blow up, I quickly realized that we were going to fail miserably if we didn't have somebody at the helm, because I'm great at starting ideas, but I'm not really great at keeping them moving because I get busy. And we needed somebody that could basically take the reins and make it work. And it wasn't just like, oh, I'm friends with Shane, let's hire him. He went through the ringer. There were 6 candidates. I stepped out of the process to make a decision because I am friends with Shane. I've known him for years. And the board, who doesn't know Shane, compared him to a bunch of people who came in with massive amounts of fundraising experience. And then here was Shane with literally none. And the decision was made that we needed somebody who can literally organize an organization. It wasn't about fundraising. It was about organizing the people, the team, the mission, and keeping that as the focus. So Shane is humbly saying that's all he does, like the all I do thing, but there is so much more to it, because we have a legal part of our mission that we can't overstep. We have a moral part of our mission that we can't overstep. And we have 50 people volunteering with different backgrounds, beliefs, where they're from, cultures, religions, races, ever. And then we have 6 employees with all the same thing, and Shane has to manage all of that. And he has to deal with me on a constant basis, which is probably the worst part of all of those things that were listed.
So the dealing with the other 50, yeah, Chris, yeah. So Chris could be a challenge.
Let's not just say all he does, because there's a lot more to it than just that.
Well, thank you for the kind words, but the key to being successful is surrounding yourself with people who are better than you are. And that is really how you make this work. I'm always looking for people for the team, volunteer or employee, who is much better than what I could ever be at their particular job. You get the right people, put them in the right place. That's the secret. And to me, that's a secret sauce of being successful for leadership and management. So
we got a fantastic question in the chat that I think would be great if each of you could provide a little bit of insight on as you speak. Chris, we've heard a little bit of your story, and Samantha, we heard some of yours already today, but people want to know what got each of you into the InfoSec/OSCENT industry to begin with. So Shane, if you could answer that, and then maybe we'll move on to hear from Samantha.
So as a C-level with a focus on IT, you cannot help but get sucked into the security end of this business. And that started happening for me about 8 years ago. And that is also the time when I met Chris, and I became a client of Chris's as I was at a C-level position for another job. And so that's what brought me into this portion of the industry. I went to my first DerbyCon, and just like when I hit DerbyCon and I saw everyone there, I interfaced with everyone. It was like I was home. I was like, this is where I wanted to be, and so that is where I started down my rabbit hole in this industry.
That's awesome. And before we move on to Samantha, there's something happening in the chat that I wanted to acknowledge. So outside of the sphere of ILFest, we had that whole Twitter rampages last week. And we had an Alyssa Miller out there, which I would love it if you were in chat, because if you tell us your Twitch name, we can get you some ILF bucks for it. But they just made a separate donation of $515, like they said they would, that they pledged if we hit 10K by the 10th. So we just want to acknowledge them and thank them for their contribution and for following through on their word. We greatly appreciate it, Alyssa. So thank you very much. All right, so Samantha, we heard a little bit about your origin story and how you got with the ILF, but can you tell us a little more about what you do at the ILF and perhaps why the ILF is so important to you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. There's a lot to unpack there. So the whole reason I got into InfoSec and OSINT is the one thing that remained consistent in my interests from as a child to now has been forensics, research, and getting answers for things I don't know the answers to. So all of that mixed with life. I think a lot of people at the ILF may have similar stories of why we got involved. So trigger warning in advance. I was a victim of sexual abuse, and I really wanted to turn my voice around and actually give something back, because there were years where I didn't have it, and I was just really silent. But now I'm starting to get better at that. And the ILF has helped me grow as an individual and both in the security industry as well. And OSINT has just taken off with my interests. There's so much you can do with it, whether it's breach data, what we were doing with GeoGuessr, social media, just all of it. It's just fascinating.
Wow. So thank you very much for that personal story. And it never ceases to amaze me, the people in our community that have experienced tragedy and been victims in the past that have channeled that into a strength and have really made it a driving force in the work that they're in today. And you are a wonderful example of that. So we're very proud to have you on our team.
Thank you. Proud to be here.
Speaking of people we're proud to have on our team, Erin. We love Erin, and she's the one that keeps us all together. So Erin, who are you and what do you do for us?
Well, I am the Director of Wellness, and I came to the ILF in a very kind of unique way. My brother-in-law is actually on the board as the attorney, and I had been hearing about ILF for, if you're about 4 years old, since the start of it. And when I had originally heard about it, the one thing I was mostly impressed with throughout the whole thing is that Shane and Chris identified from the get-go that if they were going to ask people to do this, that they needed to have a mental health component to it. And I respected that so much. And I would hear through the grapevine how it was going, that they had, a board member who was able to provide wellness sessions for the people doing the research. And I just thought that was amazing. So I would hear about it in drips and drabs. And then I myself worked with a lot of what we call at-risk youth. I was in working in schools, and I was always kind of problem solving, and I loved working with teenagers. Kind of the worse the stories, the more I wanted to help. So it came about that the ILF was looking for a permanent kind of fixture as an employee, and I really didn't want to leave the kids at the time, but COVID hit. And so I was actually kind of booted out of schools to begin with, where my heart was working with the kids directly. And so it just kind of all came together in this like beautiful way of timing. And I'm a big believer in that. And it was like, I'm going to make this leap. And I was thrilled that they invited me on board. And I've been here since last May, and I absolutely love it. I love every single day coming to work with ILF. And I get to see the members of the pit at least once a month, sometimes more often. And then other employee volunteers on a quarterly basis. And it's been the best decision I made. And what I love the most is that I know I'm still having great impact with children, because by helping these volunteers, they're the ones helping get the predators off the street. And I've seen firsthand how easily kids are victimized. I've seen it firsthand through, especially because one of the schools I was in was a very rural area, and these kids were so super easy to be influenced to meet at places dark at night alone. And so, like I said, I know this just has a huge impact on all of that. So I'm a big fan, and I've been here since, and I absolutely love it.
And we love having you on the team. Thank you very, very
Thank you.
much. So I have to apologize because I made a mistake. I neglected to mention something very, very important at the start of this segment. So Shane, Chris, and I, we've had this conversation a lot, and we feel like it is the biggest compliment that we can receive to have our volunteers that give us their time for free to also give monetarily. That is a massive compliment to the team. And I was supposed to mention this at the beginning, and it completely slipped my mind, but we actually had one of our volunteers who insisted on remaining anonymous, so I cannot share their name. They are matching up to $2,500 for this hour.
Wow.
So if anyone is waiting to make a donation, it will be matched up to $2,500 for the duration of this segment. Hey, and Goodman, immediately. Thank you, Goodman. So let's try and see if we can max that out. We're talking about $2,500 being matched for this hour. So if there's a time to donate, it would be now. Let's see if we can get that thing budged above 30K and add another ingredient to this sandwich. Again, my apologies for forgetting to mention that at the beginning, but we just think that is a huge, huge compliment from our team to have that sort of support as well. So
I agree. And by the way, what is that next level on the sandwich? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, the next level on the sandwich. The next level is a really fun one. So once we hit 30K, we have the option to add something sweet to this sandwich. So the problem is, with all the ingredients we have going on right now, it's kind of a little rough, maybe a little pasty, maybe a little dry. You got to get something sweet, liven that thing up. So we're going to have the option at 30K of adding either cotton candy, licorice, or candied orange slices into the mix, right on top of that bed of silkworm that we've established. So let's see if we can't make that happen. All right, so we just heard from Aaron, and now there's a newcomer who isn't even on our website yet.
Wait. What about you, John?
No one wants to hear about me. I'm just the face in the corner.
If we're going seniority, we need you, and we should mention Mandy, even though she's not here. But John, I don't mean to, Jennifer, very important. But John, you need to tell people who you are and what you do, because without you, there are so many things that are not happening here.
All right. So my name is John McCombs. Everyone calls me John Mitchell. And I am the executive assistant to the Innocent Lives Foundation. So a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, I handle that. If you have ever been reached out to any of us by anyone for anything, it's probably me. So I do a lot of the behind the scenes emailing, keeping things held together as best as I can. But really, it's just a privilege to be able to be included in such an incredible industry with all of these amazing, amazing people at such a young age. I feel very, very privileged. And I think it was Jake earlier that said, Jake said that getting on that panel with all those incredible people like Phil and Alith was just the definition of imposter syndrome. And I think that's something that we can all relate to. Hey, and there's Jake. I think that's something that we can all relate to, especially in this industry. It is full of such incredible people, and the majority of them are so humble. They just make you feel so welcomed while they're just industry professionals. I'll never forget, in fact, my first exposure to the InfoSec world, which is really what kind of got me into it, was DerbyCon. So many years ago, DerbyCon at, holy cow, these donations keep rolling in like crazy. We just got $1,000 in the last 10 seconds. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. We were at DerbyCon, and I can't remember which year it was. It was the one before Trevor. And I remember Dave Kennedy coming up, and I had no idea who Dave was at the time. And me and him were just chatting, and I was working on a CTF, and I was asking him about some sort of a cipher. It was one of the puzzles for this CTF, and he was like, "Oh, I think that's a Baconian cipher." And I go, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me look into that." And he walks away, and someone comes up to me and was like, "Do you know who you're just talking to?" I was like, "No, I have no idea." He said his name was Dave. He's a nice guy. And that's just the industry that we're in. So it's an honor to be here, and it's a privilege to be able to work for an organization that is as fantastic as the Innocent Lives Foundation. All right. So that's me. So
Not skipping yourself.
what?
Thank you for not skipping yourself. I appreciate it.
Anytime. So, and like you brought up, we should not skip Mandy. So
We should definitely not skip Mandy.
let's hear from Mandy's best friend on the team, Aaron, and
Me?
Samantha.
Oh, I
come
thought that
on.
was me.
Wow.
Both
Wow.
of them.
It's not me. Wait a
It's a
second.
shared
Wow,
friendship.
wow. I thought,
Mandy
wow.
said she was my best friend.
Yeah, wow.
For
Wow.
all you
Wait.
No.
guys.
Unfortunately,
Wow.
the
You know
only
what? Mandy,
evidence.
we used
There's
to have
a-
an
there's
employee named
calendar-
Mandy.
There's
Man,
calendar
to have an
invites
employee.
that says Mandy, your best friend.
No.
we need an HR department.
It
apparently.
is
We used to have an
unfortunate.
employee, but she's
You
fired.
never
I'm sorry.
have calendar invites that say Mandy, your best
No,
friend.
Yep.
no, Mandy used to
Because
be
you
here.
just make us cry.
No,
That's the thing.
Mandy is amazing. She's the one we have to thank for all these glorious designs, for our website, for our education and outreach,
For everything.
for
She wears many hats.
everything, for ideas. She's creative. She's our designer. She's our developer. She's just amazing. She does it all. She wears many hats, just like John Mitchell.
And the one
And
thing that made me think of this when, Chris, you were talking about discrimination in the industry, you're like, oh, 70% of SDCOM is women. And it made me realize 80% of the employees of the ILF are women. And
Yeah.
it's truly incredible to be surrounded. We were talking about Mandy the other day on a podcast, and we said it's really rare to find somebody that is talented and creative in graphic design and is also a talented developer.
Yep.
So not
Yeah.
only
She has it all.
is she responsible for all of these amazing designs and the merch and everything, she's also responsible for leading our dev team. And so we struggled a lot to find a job title for her. But we love Mandy here, and unfortunately, she
Unicorn.
had to go be a bridesmaid or something today, so she wasn't able to be
That-
here.
Had to cross the country.
That's her title is Unicorn. ILF
Yeah.
Unicorn.
She's a magical unicorn.
She is.
Yep.
All right,
no,
so
she's-
Jennifer,
she
now
really
let's hear a
rocks.
little bit about you. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, thanks. I'm so happy to be here. My first day is officially going to be Monday. So I can't wait. It's been hard to wait this long, honestly. I'm so fortunate. I've been in higher ed fundraising for, gosh, I don't know, 14 years or so. And my career has exclusively been in higher ed, and on a just what I would call just luck, fluke, timing. I got an email from Aaron that I didn't know if it was real or not, that said, would you be interested in having a conversation about a position we have open? And I was a little skeptical. I thought, well, I'll go do a little research. And I hit the homepage of the ILF and was just in love with the mission, the people. I watched all the YouTubes, I read all the bios. The work is just so important and so amazing. And I thought, boy, how do I become a part of this? This has got to happen. So, and then I met Aaron and Mandy at our first, I don't even know if I would call it an interview. It was just like a conversation between, I'd like to say 3 best friends, or will be best friends.
No, sorry. Mandy's my best friend.
You can
So,
join. You can join
sorry.
on the
I'm-
best friend club.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to be
Coworkers.
working into that.
Co-workers. You had a conversation with co-workers.
I don't know. It was funny. It was almost like I've known them my entire life. And we sat and we talked, and I knew this is where I needed to be. And then I could really help make a big difference with the work that the foundation does. So I got off that call, and I was hook, line, and sinker, sold. I was going to do anything I needed to do to become a part of this organization. If they didn't hire me, I was going to be volunteering, doing whatever it took. So, and then I had another conversation and met the rest of the team, and Sam and Shane and John Mitchell. And eventually I met Chris, and it was just, everything just fit perfectly. And so I left my higher ed institution and on my way to start raising money for the ILF, and I could not be more excited.
We're so excited to
That
have
is
you.
awesome.
We are so thrilled. And if
Very.
you knew, I mean, we're just going to tell everybody here the journey we went through. The board last summer put out this ridiculous requirement for hiring a fundraiser. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to find the person that fits
It
this
wasn't
bill.
that ridiculous. Just saying.
Hey, Well, we've been
It was a little
since
crazy.
last summer finding the right person, and we've gone through over 400 resumes, and
Yeah.
we finally got to the point to where we started cherry picking. We were looking for people individually and then contacting them. And Jennifer was one of those folks, and so we are just so psyched.
Yeah.
And you know, the point is that we're at this point as an org where we would like to double the size of the pit. We'd like to go from having 30 people to adding an additional 30 people as a minimum to the group, adding another pit coordinator, adding another therapist. And so really the only thing stopping us now as an organization from doing that is fundraising. And so it's just a matter of we've got it figured out. We want to scale this and get more people off the street and let more kids benefit from our work.
No pressure, Jennifer, that
No.
if you fail, that we can't grow, and all the kids on earth suffer because of you. But no pressure at all.
Failure is not an option. So
I have
it's never been an
complete faith.
option for me.
I have a lot of faith in Jennifer.
So we've
Well,
made
I just
comments about
thought,
this a little bit and alluded to it throughout the day. And Chris, you made the mention of 300 cases, but I'd love to hear a little more, Chris and Samantha, if you could talk a little bit about our mission, what it is exactly that we do, and how successful we have been in the last 4 years at it.
Okay, yeah, I could start, and then Sam can give you more detail. So our mission is to find people who are using the internet, whether that's open web or dark web, and trying to anonymously trade in child abuse material, actually traffic children, or promoting the abuse of children in any form or way, right? So we don't limit it to just what may be called child pornography, because there's many other forms of child abuse material that are not pornographic, that we don't need to discuss all here. We don't need to get graphic with it, but our mission is to find people who create that, who trade in that, who profit from that, who enjoy that, and then to locate them in the real world. So one of the main tenets when I started all of this 4 years ago was that I never wanted to become a vigilante group, because it's too easy, right? It's too easy to make the statement, the ends justify the means, right? So we're going to save kids, so it's okay to step over the line or break the law. But I've known people who have done that and ended up in prison themselves. So one of our main concepts was that we had to stay above the law. We had to never become vigilantes, and that if we could not get someone arrested, it was not our job to be judge, jury, and executioner. Our job was to locate a potential predator and hand them off to law enforcement of the country they exist, so that way they can be handled with appropriately.
Okay, so I need to interrupt that for a second. Did anybody else just catch the donation that put us to 88% of our goal?
No.
Oh,
We just So
I
Chris,
just
you're gonna be
saw that.
cooking. You're gonna be cooking dinner for Cassandra Savage. That's who you're going to be cooking dinner for, with a $15,450 donation.
What?
$15,000.
$15,450.
There are just no words.
Who was that again?
I would like to add for a moment. That was a $15,000 donation, and they saw that and went, maybe I'll cover the 3% processing fee and put on another $450. $15,450.
Who is Cassandra?
Cassandra is one of our incredible members of the Hero Program.
Is she really?
Already a recurring donor.
That is unbelievable.
That's
That is so
amazing.
generous.
Unbelievable, Cassandra.
Wow,
Thank you so much.
No, people are making comments about me sweating. Let's forget about me for a second. Seriously, that is a ball
So
of emotion
incredible.
right there. That is unbelievable.
Cassandra, I've just been
That's
informed you
ridiculous.
didn't give us your Twitch name, though. We have no way to get you your raffle tickets. So, if you could
She's
please
going to win
do that.
everything now from this point forward.
Well, I mean, that's how it
Cassandra
works when
wins
you
all.
buy 15,000
The odds
tickets. Holy
It
cow.
may have to be a
Thank you,
Wagyu
thank you,
beef.
thank you.
Dinner too.
Cassandra gets whatever the heck she wants.
Absolutely.
So I would
mean-
like to note that puts us at 88% of our overall goal for the day to bring us to a total of $44,029, which means Levi is getting a head tattoo. It's a done deal.
Woo! That'll be fun.
That is a done deal for a head tattoo.
Tony, I see that. Cassandra, if you can reach out to me or somebody here, you got free coffee coming your way from Tony Hunt. He wants to gift you some coffee, but Cassandra, please just reach out. I want to know who you are. This is just ridiculous. I'm sure we have her email address and the donation. Maybe we should
We
email
will
her.
find you.
Whew, that actually gets my heart going.
Yeah.
You know, that generosity is ridiculous. I mean, literally, we set this number high, not only because I really don't want to eat the most gross thing on the planet, but I thought last year I said 25K because I really thought that was impossible. And then we hit like 30 something.
33.
So,
Yeah.
So this year I'm like, let's just double that because that's just, it's stupid. We're not going to raise that in a day. We're at $44,000 and we still got like 3.5 hours.
That is incredible. Well, we are going to start running some polls because we need to add some ingredients to this sandwich.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, so I'm going to get those polls going. You guys continue, Chris, talking about the mission, and I'm going to get this taken care of.
Yeah, great. Okay, anyhow. So I don't know where I was before. We were rudely interrupted with that generosity of Cassandra.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Cassandra. No, so, okay, let's hand this off to Sam. But the last thing I'll say is the vigilante thing. What we wanted to make when we made the group was to make sure that the people that came aboard understood that the ends do not justify the means. So that goes in multiple directions. One is what Aaron brought up. Your mental health is more important than the mission, right? And it has to be that case because if you wreck your family and your life, but you save one kid, that's not an equal balance, right? We're not the Messiah. So we can't sacrifice our life for others. It doesn't work, right? That's not the way it works. So that was one way that we applied that. The second is, as gross, disgusting, and angering as it is to see what these people enjoy for entertainment or for pleasure, it doesn't justify us with being violent or being retaliatory. So we can't adopt the ideas that we see so often in movies and media in today's world, where revenge is almost glorified and violence is only, like movies are based on that, on like revenge is what is expected. We can't go into this mission with that mentality. So finding the right person to lead the pit was important for us because we didn't want somebody that came in that said, I got 50 years of experience doing this and I've, kicked the doors in and smashed the teeth of bad guys when, I was in the military or something like that. We wanted somebody who was going to come in with that empathetic, humble approach to leading a team of people that can do this the right way. And that is what brings us to Sam, because she is that person.
Thanks. What do you want to know? What's my question?
Maybe tell them a little more about how, without giving away the details that we're not allowed to give away, about how we go about accomplishing that mission while staying above the rule set.
Yeah, I'll go into that in a little bit, how we've grown in success-wise with the pit. So when we first started, as Chris said, he thought it was going to be like 5 people in a basement and just hacking away at these websites. And now we have grown into obviously a team of over 50 people, and there's 30 in the pit almost. And that is insane. But we went from 8 cases to then I think it was 86 cases. And then it was 156 cases. And now so far we're at an official submitted to law enforcement around 68, but we have 28 active cases. So we keep that ball rolling. And how we do that is once we find, there's a few sides to the pit. So there's lead generation. Lead generation is you're going out, you're taking guides that I've built on either predatory behavior or terminology, and you're putting yourself in that perspective to actually find people who are wanting to trade this content. And that can definitely be taxing. So like I said, we really lean on Aaron and the rest of our team to not get that emotional fatigue, so we can actually take care of ourselves. But once we find those leads, then we move on to casework. If I see that it's an actionable case. So if it's like a name that I can't do anything about, that obviously is frustrating, but we're able to create, most of the time, we're able to create entire parallel reconstructive files for law enforcement where they can go from point A to point Z in the exact steps. And that protects us from ever having to go to court, because none of us want to do that. And a bit about staying above reproach, not above the law. I think those are different things, right?
They are.
Yes. Okay. So we are above reproach. We are not above the law.
Thanks, Sam. That's a good fix. That's a good correction.
One great example is the Subway guy, Jared Fogle. He was found by the dogs sniffing a certain ingredient, and they found the USB keys. That was immediately on all of the Predator forums, and they follow security just like we do, and they will look for tips of evasion. So we will never be vigilantes, and we will never post exactly our methodology, websites, terminology, anything that can make it easier for a predator to exploit children or partake in child sexual abuse material.
And we just had a great
Sam,
question come through the chat. Can you clearly identify what is the PIT? It's the Predator Identification Team, but what does that mean exactly?
Well, yeah, so the Predator Identification Team is a team of volunteers who go out and look for people who are exploiting children and think that they can hide behind anonymity. They work directly with me, and then I go to Chris with the results. We have right around 30 people right now, and then as we've mentioned earlier, we're really hoping to double that by the end of, I think, hopefully next year. That would be incredible if we could do that. Hire another PIC coordinator, another Aaron, because then I can train them to do exactly what we do. And what we do is OSINT, but it's not the normal corporate OSINT. It's a completely different side where you really have to have a different method of thinking and perspective and be able to separate your emotions from the content.
I'd just like to bring out that when we started all of this, I wanted to call it the mosh pit, mostly open source hacking predator identification team. And I got outvoted. I just want to say Neil Fallon and I voted yes for mosh pit, and we got outvoted. So I just want to say though, CEO, I thought mosh pit would have been really cool. Just saying, if anybody wants to vote for that in the chat.
I put that on my business card.
They got something else to vote on in the chat. They have to vote on what they're adding to the sandwich in the chat.
Oh, let's go vote now for that. Let's see.
No, there's no good. There's nothing good.
What do we want to add to the sandwich?
None of them are
Cotton
good.
candy, licorice, or candied oranges.
I added cotton candy.
I think I gotta go cotton candy on this one personally.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna go candied oranges with this one. See, look at Chris's face right now when I say candied oranges.
But I have the face for all of them. I'm reading it and I'm like, so far with what you've put on it, you put Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
Black licorice with Cheese Whiz, candied oranges with Cheese Whiz, cotton candy with Cheese Whiz.
The
None
cotton
of them
candy
is
will
good.
melt. Somebody said that, and it will. The cotton candy will melt.
But it's still going to leave a sticky, sugary goo.
You can also
Well,
you can put the
that'll
cotton
help
candy on
hold all the
top.
larvae in place.
Put the cotton candy on top so it'll stay fluffy.
Yeah, but are we doing like a panini press type thing to keep it nice and condensed?
Oh, and he's gonna heat it all up? No, we didn't think that far in advance.
Oh, Catherine, to answer your question, we will get to see Chris eat this sandwich. Absolutely. At the end of our stream, 7 p.m., the Shanking Chef himself will be making and eating the sandwich of suffering, which is now almost
I want
complete.
you all to understand this. I have to make my own sandwich that I have to eat. Do you even comprehend the cruelty of this team?
Mm-hmm.
What?
The cruelty.
No. All right, let's get focused back on mission for a little bit. I did want to comment that, so we're talking about cases. We've actually worked 395 in total, and we've had 301 of those accepted by law enforcement. So you may look at those numbers and go, well, where's the difference? And so what takes place is when we hand something to law enforcement, it has to be actionable. They have to be willing to accept it. And so we have done a lot of work on cases in the past. And what we need to be able to do is be sure that there's something that law enforcement is happy to accept. Sometimes we end up timing out on a case where we're unable to, we put a ton of work into something, we can't get an identification and we have to time out. So that doesn't get set aside. It goes into a gone but not forgotten list. And we keep our eyes open for those folks to bounce back onto our radar. And because it seems that once people start heading down this road, they rarely get off of this road until they're caught. So it's an ugly thing, but 301 we have 28 that are active right now. So the pit is very, very active.
So Shane, can I ask a question or add something maybe?
Sure.
I, as a newbie and new to the organization, I was absolutely blown away when I saw how much money that it takes to just process to put together one case. I was kind of in the dark on what it goes into that. And is it about $10,000 per case that
Yeah,
can
so
cost upwards?
it can be up to $10,000 a case. And sometimes we're very fortunate. Those cases are some low-hanging fruit and we're able to resolve them quickly. Other times it takes many, many hours in order to be able to come up with that. A better number, if you want it, because honestly, it's hard sometimes to think, well, $10,000, how does that apply to me? You can think about it this way. With 30 people in the pit, it costs $20 a day per person to run the pit. So if you would like to sponsor a person in the pit to help look for these bad people, just think about sponsoring it for $20 a day. So if you wanted to sponsor a person working in the pit for 5 business days, you could do that for a $100 donation. So that kind of helps you get your head around something. Like for me, I can't grasp, setting aside $10,000 for a donation out of my pocket. $100, $500, $1,000. I can comprehend and work with.
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it was just unbelievable when I saw those numbers when I was doing my research, and I know how lean everything is, and that every dime raised goes directly to the mission. Nothing's wasted.
And you're absolutely right. So when you look at everything that it takes in order to do that, you look at the infrastructure, you look at the software cost, you look at everything it takes to run the business. That's where we're at.
I'd also like to point out another great thing just happened. Joe, the blind hacker, just donated another 20 subs to our stream. So our sub count is exploding. So thank you very, very much for that, Joe. And it's decided. Cotton candy's going on the sandwich. So that is a done deal at this point. So cotton candy goes on the sandwich. And the next poll is going up right now for something bad. Okay? We're going to go something bad, something worse, and then finally something unholy to finish the sandwich out. So the something bad category, y'all are going to have your choice of pickled beets, durian chips, or pickled herring in Louisiana hot sauce. So that poll is going live right now. Let's get those votes in.
I mean, there's nothing good on that list.
Well, it wouldn't be a sandwich of suffering if there was, Chris.
I mean, do you know that
Point,
durian's illegal in some countries?
Not
it's
here.
illegal.
Not
It's
here.
illegal to open a durian in Thailand on a public transportation. Do you know that? That's where my wife is from. If you carry an open durian onto a bus, you can be arrested because the smell is so grotesque.
Disseminating hazardous material.
You're not helping your case. I mean, everyone's going to be voting for durian chips.
I meant
keep it up.
But when I go there, I roll in beds of durian. I use a durian face mask every night. I don't know. I got nothing. What else? Crap. Dave Kennedy's gone, right?
I would like to add
He's
this in
gone.
there. I think pickled beets have got to be one of the most disgusting things I personally have ever eaten. When I was in Japan for a little while, we went to a restaurant and someone kept telling me this Japanese guy genuinely loves these things. And it's apparently pretty normal there. And he was eating them like candy. He's like, you got to try it. You got to try it. You got to try it. I put one in my mouth and it literally took everything I had just out of respect for this human being in front of me not to throw up on him. It was.
Are you talking about
horrific.
durian or beets?
Pickled beets? Couldn't handle it.
I don't know. Beets aren't bad. I mean, beets are disgusting. No one should pick beets. Beets are awful.
Don't listen
Okay.
to him, people.
No, beets are disgusting. Do not pick it. Pick durian chips. Yes, because beets are terrible.
Looks like hot sauce herring's winning right now.
I'd also like to take a moment just to point out we are about to cross 200 subscribers on our channel. With all of the sub gifts that have been given out, that is unbelievable. This time last year at ILFest, we didn't even have 100 followers on Twitch, and now we're about to cross 200 subs. So thank you guys very much.
I'm sorry, someone just said beets are the devil's turds. Oh, that's great. Well,
That
look-
person should be a writer.
Hey, how long do these things last, these votes, before I say something?
The votes, 5 minutes apiece for the votes.
Okay, good, because that means we're probably
Hey,
not
thank you for the
getting
prime, DFI or Diva.
We are not gonna get durian, thank you.
Okay, and this is everybody's 5-minute warning for the giveaway. As a reminder, we're giving away 3 bags of mission fuel in a matching ILFest 2021 coffee mug. So if you want to get any of those tickets in, use your bucks now. You have 5 minutes left for this giveaway.
So, John Mitchell, I've seen 2 questions that have come through. One of those has been, we reached our 10K followers yesterday on Twitter, which was just freaking amazing, by the way. We're going to start, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but we're going to start announcing those tomorrow. Is that correct? And we had a couple of 100 prizes to give away. Is that the way it's all turned out?
Yeah, so we had Jake, if you're still hanging out with us, if you could drop the exact number in chat, I know you have it. I want to say the number is about 170. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around 170 or 172 prizes. 100 of those are Cyber Mentor Heath Adams courses. 100 course vouchers. Some of those are, he gave away 5 hours of his time, 5 one-on-one 1-hour sessions for him to coach you through anything cybersecurity related, ethical hacking related. And there's been all kinds of PNPT vouchers and cross-site scripting courses and access to programs. It's ridiculous. Thousands of dollars of giveaways from our community just for following us on Twitter.
So we're going to start processing all of that tomorrow and Monday, and probably through to Tuesday with that many prizes to navigate, give away, and make contacts with. So
yeah, so please
really,
watch your
really
Twitter
happy.
DMs. Please watch your Twitter DMs because you're only going to have a certain amount of time to respond before we have to move on to the next person. So please, we have so many things to give away. Keep an eye on your Twitter DMs for the next couple days.
Perfect. The other thing is one of the questions I saw earlier on was, where do we get our cases from? And so I just wanted to touch on that real fast. They typically come in from 3 different areas. Area number 1, the ones that we prefer the most, is when law enforcement says, hey, Innocent Lives Foundation, can you give us an assist on this? And of course, that's perfect. The next thing, we have parents reaching out to us often on grooming cases, looking for some help. Typically, they've already reached out to law enforcement, and they need a little more help gathering some information so that that case can become acceptable to law enforcement. The other Samantha mentioned is that we look for leads, and they have to be leads that are appropriate, and they're cases that law enforcement will want to accept. So I did want to cover that question while I was out there.
Very good. So we are nearing the end of this segment. We have 3 minutes left. So if any of you have any other questions for the ILF team, now is the time to get them in. We have 3 minutes, and then we're going to be moving on. The something bad poll is about to run out. So if you haven't voted, please do that. And then we're going to get on to the something worse very soon.
We should just end the something bad poll now. I think it's fine where it is.
Well, there's still hope for durian chips.
No,
on,
no,
people,
I
vote,
think pickled hot sauce. Oh, I hate hot sauce. Spicy
Ugh.
things are gross. Oh,
Well, that's a
I
done
truly-
deal. Hot sauce herring is what is
Yeah.
going on the sandwich.
Thank you, people. Thank
I lo-
you.
I love it how you're
Thank
happy
you.
about that.
Oh, I'm happy about that. Durian is disgusting. Okay.
Ludivine, thank you so much for the other subs. Oh my gosh, that pushes us clean over 200. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Well, that's a done deal. Hot sauce herring, and now we're going to launch the next one. Now, this next one's a 50-50. You have two options for something worse. You have olive loaf spread, which I'm not very familiar with what that is. Can someone fill me in on that? Shane, you're the one
Olive
that...
loaf spread.
Yeah, so we were looking for head cheese, and we couldn't find a place locally that would deliver it to Chris. So the next worst thing I could find was this like congealed mass of olive loaf spread type thing made by Boar's Head. So we found it and ordered it, and when they called us, they couldn't deliver it because they didn't have it. So now basically we're going to take some ham and some olives and grind it all up and turn it into a really nasty, yucky spread to help glue all that stuff together. I'm not sure if, what was our other choice?
So correct me if I'm wrong. So we're talking about a sort of congealed olive meat thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. So your choices are congealed olive meat thing or earthworm jerky.
I'd go for the earthworm jerky.
I don't think either of those sound great. Considering I've never eaten either of them, I don't know which is worse. How do they make earthworm jerky?
I don't know. Do you devein
have
them
you
and
ever-
toss them in a little,
Have you ever seen like a worm dried up on a sidewalk after it rains? I'm guessing something like that.
Okay.
put it in your ninja foodie, dry it out, eat it later?
Congealed
Hello.
meat olive
Little
thing is one character too long, so you'll have to fill in the G. All right, so that poll is now live. This sandwich is getting so close to completion. Now all that is left is the final push. If we can get this to $50,000, we are going to hit the final push for something unholy. There's only one thing going on it. It's already been picked out. It is disgusting. If you want to see it go on the sandwich, all we got to do is get this to $50,000. We are only $6,000 away, a little less actually. So that is amazing. Thank you all again.
People, we don't need $50,000 today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we
Don't
do.
need it.
Yeah, we
we
do.
don't.
Don't
We
listen
need
to
to
Chris.
double the pit.
We
Yes,
don't.
we do.
Listen, it is perfectly fine if we have to fire one of these people, because we can't afford to maintain it. It's fine. It's fine. There's other jobs out there. There's 526,000 jobs needed in InfoSec right now. They'll be fine, people. They'll be perfectly fine.
All right.
Well,
So
that
maybe we fire
is-
Chris.
That. So unfortunately, that is all the
I
time
don't
we
get a
have for the
paycheck, so you can
get to
fire me
know
all
the
you want.
ILF.
You're
That is all
fired.
the time we have to know to get to know our lovely team. So thank you all very much for showing up. Jennifer, we are thrilled to have you on board, and we look forward to you starting with us Monday. Thank you all again.
Can't wait.
And we, if anyone was wondering, we definitely hit that $2,500 match. So congratulations, us.